So you've decided you want to start a bullet journal, but you haven't yet because you're afraid that you're going to do it wrong, right? You don't know if you're going to put in the right spreads or if you've got the right colors, if you know which designs you want to use or which trackers you want to include. I totally get that, and I've got great news for you. Take a deep breath. Here's the solution. You can't do it wrong. Bullet journaling was designed on the premise that it is a unique and customizable journal that will prevent you from ever running out of space for the things that you need. One of the biggest problems we all have with regular planners is that they aren't what we need. They limit us and they constrict us. But bullet journaling prevents that from happening. Now, here's the other part of it though. A bullet journal and an art book are not the same thing. Hear me out. I am not saying that you should not be artistic in your bullet journal, but I am going to echo what Ryder has said in his own book in more than one place, which is that the whole point of a bullet journal is to get you organized and make you feel like you're in control of the things in your life and that you have a direction with which way your life is going. If it's not doing that, then there's parts of it in there that may need to be taken out. I'm very surprised. I've recently joined a few groups on Facebook for bullet journals, and I've heard people who have been bullet journaling for a period of time ask things like, what is migration? What is an index? And I'm not knocking them for not knowing, but I am surprised because those are some of the very basic tenets of the system. If you want to have a book that is artistic and has lots of pictures in it, and it's going to be things that you can track and books that you've read, there's nothing wrong with that. But take a minute to ask yourself, is this really a bullet journal? And if it isn't, then you're free to make it, whatever you want. And it makes it sound like I'm saying you can't do that if it's a bullet journal. That's not what I'm saying. You can do it then too. But the main purpose of a bullet journal is based in the system that Ryder made. And if you follow that system first and let the art come later, then you're going to have a much better experience in making your bullet journal. Think of it like this. If you're coming at it from a productivity standpoint, then the best thing you can do is get familiar with the system, and then as you get familiar with the system, the art will come on its own. You'll find ways to be artistic about the things you need and not be doing art for the sake of art. If you are a very artistic person and you want that to be a part of your bullet journal from the beginning, then consider that every great masterpiece was the result of an artist making 99 or 100 mistakes. So the only way to get to that 100th bit, that masterpiece, is to just start making mistakes. Let your bullet journal be ugly. A lot of people say, like, what do you do if your bullet journal, you have a mistake? And a lot of people will tape the pages together and do that sort of thing. And that's cool because aesthetics do matter. But remember that the main person, possibly the only person that's going to be looking at your bullet journal is you. And if you want to let yourself off the hook and just have an ugly page in there, you absolutely can. I'm really disappointed because my first bullet journal, when I learned about the system, was done in a Moleskine Evernote book. It was just a lined notebook, and it was awful. It was horrible. It was it was really ugly. And I had a lot of collections, not because I wanted to track habits and such, but because I've been a user of the Getting Things Done method by David Allen for a number of years, and I already had a number of lists that I needed to keep track of, things like read review lists and items that I need to write for work because of my position. This has gotten much longer than I thought, so if you're still listening, thanks. But my story was that I was using digital organizers and it wasn't working for me because of my crazy, was diagnosed with adult ADHD and out of sight, out of mind, right? Once that stuff is off of Todoist, if it's not right in front of me, I'm not looking at it, I'm forgetting it's there. And so I needed something different. I have no idea when I stumbled across Bullet Journal or how. I think it was through the Jessica McCabe on the How to ADHD YouTube channel. So thumbs up to her. And I gave it a try, and I did it exactly the way that Ryder said to do it, very basic, very straightforward, and then started customizing it from there. But I've still just used writing, and I still just use a black ink pen, and it works for me because I can see it's not only a to-do list for me, it's a to-done list. Right, so I can look back at the week and see all the things that I finished, which in the past I couldn't do on a digital. I mean, you could, but you had to work at it. It wasn't right in front of you. And the rapid logging was great for me because it allowed me to really just get everything off of my mind for a day. Like today was a super busy rapid logging day. Let me show you. This is all, actually today started over here. This is this week. Well, this is last week and then this week. And this is all today because we had a really busy day at work and I took a ton of notes. And because these are all notes related to one thing, I'm probably just going to add them. Let's do it right now. I'm going to add it to the table of contents. It's on page 121. So I'm just going to need my Le Pen. Go to my index. And I'm going to add it in. So this was our DHS MH surprise survey. And then we're going to do like a because I'm not sure. What was that, 121? Let's see. I think it was 121. If it wasn't, that's totally fine because I'm just going to cross it off and put the right thing. It was. So there we go. Now I have it in my index. I'll make a little thing here for myself so I know that's what I'm referring to. And that's it. And sometimes I do draw. I doodle. I fiddle-faddle. And let me show you this too, because when I started bullet journaling, my handwriting looked more like this. This is what it looked like when I was originally doing rapid logging. Kind of scribbly, upper lowercase, and I put spaces in between everything because I was afraid I wouldn't be able to read it. And my hand would get really sore when I was, how close are you to me right now? My hand would get really sore when I was writing things because I wasn't used to writing. You know what I mean? Like I type everything, I type like 70 words a minute, but I learned that the same part of your brain that's responsible for fine motor function is also responsible for short-term memory. So for people with ADHD, it's good to write things down because your brain thinks, if I'm using fine motor skills, it must be important and I'm more likely to remember the things that I write. I can regurgitate, I can just vomit text onto a computer screen and have no memory of what I typed seconds later. It just goes right through me. But you'll see too, as time went on, even in my free flow journaling, which I'll let you see, but only very quickly because I don't want you to see what I actually wrote. So there's free flow. There was a day I was angry that day. Let's not dwell on that part too much. But you'll see, as time goes on, I started trying a little harder with my writing, and pretty soon it got kind of clean. And the same with my dailies. My dailies started to get a little more clean, a little more organized over time. It got a little easier to read. And now, honestly, I can say that like my handwriting has improved. My Le Pen is... Oh man, I just marked my pants. My handwriting has improved as a result of bullet journaling. I have notoriously messy handwriting, and I was at this page was open, and I was at a event for work, and a woman looked over who was a notebook enthusiast, and she said, "Oh, you have lovely handwriting." And I was like, "What? What do you mean?" And then just today, during our survey, the woman who was looking at the notes I was taking in the meeting, she said, "Oh, you have such neat, organized handwriting." And I was like, oh, I mean, okay, if you say so. And there's some more doodling. I just doodle when I want to. But that's what's good for me. I would be so pressured if I had to put fancy things in my bullet journal. And for me, it just works. I love that I can see what I've been doing. I do monthlies and dailies. Frankenlog is kind of a weekly, so you could argue that I do weekly, but I don't have pages specifically for that. And if you're new, just try it out the way Ryder does it. There are so many tutorials on bullet journaling on YouTube that I think you should not watch, in my opinion. I think watch Ryder's. Watch the way that the creator does it. Or read his book, because it's really good. It's a really smooth read. The whole first part of it is about like how to use the bullet journaling system, and then later it gets into some more like deep dive stuff about how to get to your goals. Boy, this video is way longer than I thought. Sorry. So I'm not going to tell you how to bullet journal. I'm not going to go through the system one more time. I guess my beef with all of those videos that are out there that tell you the ways you can bullet journal is that they've all already put their own spins on it. They all already have like pretty things in it. And I think perfection is the opposite. Perfection is the enemy of good, right? People are so interested or get so concerned about making it look good or what it's going to look like. And there is some amazing stuff out there. look in any of these groups and you're going to find people that do amazing spreads. But I'll confess, I do have a little bit of a bias towards the minimalist. The minimalist bullet journal group on Facebook is my favorite, but because I just do not have artistic ability. But you're going to have mistakes. Like, look, these were supposed to be future logs, Alistair method, but I realized I didn't need them, so I scribbled them off, and now I'm going to free flow in there. That's no problem. This is my waiting for list. I was double spacing it originally, and then I thought, I'm going to run out of room before the end of the year. I don't want to start a new one, so I started filling in the lines in between the ones that were already there. But you can kind of tell by the type of handwriting between each one. And then I have agendas for the people at work, so if I have something to talk to them about, I'll put them in here. And these are just basic collections. This is what a collection looks like to me. Look, I thought I was going to need 2 pages for Emily, but the end of the year is coming and I don't. So Xenia gets Emily's page, and the policy and procedure now gets a page. These are here. We hired a new nurse at work, and this was all the stuff I needed to teach her, so I made a collection of how to train her. So these are all just very basic collections. Here's my collection of assignments for school. But none of these exist for the sake of just something cool. And I don't track, one of the things that Ryder mentions is a saying, which I cannot say in German, but he says it, and the saying is, less but better. And that's kind of the idea behind the bullet journal. When at the very back of his book, he says in the question and answer, is there a wrong way to bullet journal? And his answer was, yes. If you're doing anything that is not helping you or making you more productive, if you are tracking things that don't give you any benefit, if they provide you with information that you're never going to use, then those are kind of the wrong way to bullet journal. You'll find that over time that there's certain things that you don't use anymore. Now, if you've started bullet journaling and you have all those things, you're tracking what you read and how much water you drank, but you're not using that information. Over time, what happens is people will stop bullet journaling because they feel that those things are bullet journaling and they're not getting anything out of it, and they went through all the work to make these spreads and collections, so they stop. But if we go back to basics and just do the very bare bones stuff that Ryder talks about on bulletjournal.com and see the value that comes from just having those basic parts, because daily logging, rapid logging, is my absolute favorite part of bullet journaling. I think the future log is a genius, especially the Alistair method. That guy, I love the way he did that. I like Frankenlog because I can have everything in one place. But the daily logging, the rapid logging of just knocking things out, getting them out of your brain. Like, my back is out. I'm having problems with my back. So today I just wrote, I miss mobility. Right? Because I do. I would like to be able to move around a little better. But I'll put those things in there. And then it's cool to be able to go back. And the reason I'm not able to do weeklies, I'm going to stop after this because I've gone way beyond the scope of this video. Crazy brain. The reason that Ryder doesn't use weeklies, and people ask, in the very back of the book, it was like my favorite, where's it? It's not nearby. My favorite question in the back of the book is somebody said, what if you have something that you have to do on a certain day later this month, but it's not for next month, so it wouldn't go on the future log. Where would you put it? And Ryder's answer blew my mind because he said, I write it today, and then I'll know when to do it because I'm reviewing my bullet journal, my daily reflection, I'll notice it. So if he has something to do, like today is the 20th, right? So if he has something to do on the 28th, he would just write today with a little event circle. He would write 28th, go to dentist at 3 o'clock, and he would remember to do that because every morning he looks at his bullet journal and he looks through the month and he sees all the things that he hasn't done yet. Mind-blowing, right? I hadn't even considered doing it that way, and I had been dying to figure out how to do something like that. So I encourage you to try to do it as basic as you can, convince yourself to do it. Don't be afraid, just start doing it. You can't do it wrong. My bullet journal is super ugly. I used a lot of the space in the back to just try to figure out what I wanted to do and how I was going to do it. Right? It's not pretty at all. Look, I crossed this out so I wouldn't confuse it with the next page, which is my actual original, Frankenlog setup. There's a different video on that. I talk about that enough as it is. I considered Alistair, or the Calendex. I was thinking about doing that, decided against it. But out of his book, he mentioned the yearly summary. So I have this on the very back page waiting for it to happen. But yeah, you can't go wrong. And don't worry about having enough space. You're going to use as much space as you need, and then you'll find the next blank page and you'll continue it again. I can't urge you enough. And the reason I'm so enthusiastic about it is because it has been so good for me. Like, my handwriting has improved, my thought process has improved, I feel more connected with the things I do every day, more aware of the things I've accomplished. I used to think I was kind of a bum, that I wasn't getting things done, but I am. I've got tons of things that I got done. I mean, look at my week. Look at all the X's. These are all things that I finished. I didn't migrate them. I didn't move them. I didn't continue them. They're done. And it feels great to be able to look at that stuff and realize that I'm actually doing a lot better than I was giving myself credit for. So hopefully this has given you some motivation. I'm so excited about it because it's done so good for me, and I would love to see it do good for you. So if you can make it pretty and still keep it practical, rock on, man. Go for it. But if what's holding you back is you don't know what to put in it, don't worry about it. Ryder's got you covered. Watch the video on the website. Just go with what he says and let it grow organically. Let it see where it brings you, and let your bullet journal work for you instead of the other way around. Hopefully somebody found this useful, and I'm sure to make more videos about this because I am totally fixated on bullet journaling right now. And I will see you guys on the Facebook groups. Take it easy.